Hi everybody, Jared here with Day Traders FX. Hopefully you guys are having a great week, and I want to thank everyone for joining us. We had a great turnout today for the FOMC report. Markets have moved, things have happened, and we had some good some good breakouts and some good setups earlier today. So we've got some great things to look at. Quick little look at how the U.S. markets reacted. Oil's up a little bit, gold's up a good chunk. The Dow and S&P ended up closing pretty. Dow was down just a little bit, S&P pretty flat. So kind of interesting how that goes. We'll look at the charts in just a moment. As far as news goes, coming into the rest of today, we don't really have anything else. We have a little bit of Chinese news. News out of China, I guess, later on today. And then coming into tomorrow, Thursday, we have a little bit of Euro news. Unemployment claims for the U.S. will be on for this tomorrow morning, and we have new home sales tomorrow as well for the U.S. And then we have a little bit of central bank news out of Australia tomorrow afternoon. So we'll keep an eye on that. Markets have moved, things have happened. Here's what we're looking at post FOMC. There's a lot of news about the Fed is thinking and discussing heavily the following steps to implement another round of QE, which we hear so much about. And if that does happen, like they talked about today, then that should be very, very negative for the dollar. Hopefully stocks will rally and all of that stuff, and we'll get a big breakout on dollar here. But what we've seen happen so far, these are all the levels I've been talking about in daily videos and so on. We're above 124.40, so a very nice move above that. 23.75 was an important one, and then ultimately 22.95 had some significance, but I think we're kind of past that range now. Of breaking below that. So the euro has gotten pretty bullish. It's broken out. It's running pretty nicely. You can see this bigger trend line right here. It's above all these levels. So it looks like things should be pretty be able to continue up in a pretty nice fashion. So what I'm looking for ultimately is for a little bit of a retracement here. I want to see the euro pull back down right to where this daily pivot is. My resistance level here now, which is becoming support, is at 24 about 85. Now we may or may not get down to that area. I think that's a decent area to look for, but I'm ultimately looking for about 12500 to buy on the dip. So somewhere between 124.85 and 12500, kind of in that 15 pip range, is what I'm going to be looking for to buy the euro dollar and be able to get that bounce and continue on up. So that's what I'm looking for there. And that's what we'll keep our eye out for. I think we've got some good potential for this bounce to happen, a nice little move there. So again, look for a dip. We're looking, currently the market's trading at 125.27-ish. So we're sitting there. So again, look for some retracement back to about 12500, even as low as 124.80, 85 area. And let's look to buy on that dip and take this pair right back on up again. So I'm looking for that. If we do get a larger dip, I would be looking to buy on the dip here at 124.40, but I don't think we're going to get that big of a push down. That's about 80 or 90 pips at this point, so I'm really looking more for just a dip into that 24.80, 2500 kind of area to buy the euro dollar. I think we've got a good chance of that. Again, we have some very nice breakouts here, and I think we've got enough momentum now for this euro dollar to be able to continue on up through those levels. The pound dollar was an interesting one. We had some fun levels to work with here. Remember on this daily chart, the pound dollar we've been watching for months. It keeps testing and testing and testing. This was about 157.50, and then I was really curious about this 50% fib because this was right at kind of the tops of these candle wicks, which was about 57.85. So we've got a pretty good break of that. Now the pound dollar has run up to the 61 percent fib. Now this is a big rundown. It's about 1,000 pips, and this is where our fib level's coming from. We're up to that 61.8. There's a couple of things that could happen. It may not be able to exceed that. If we're looking at our daily fibs, though, moving average fibs, these are very, very good indicators for overbought and oversold, and we're just at the lower range here. So I'm gonna call the fact that we don't have it's not going to be impossible to get beyond this 61.8, but I think we need to get some retracement on this level. So once again, I'm going to be looking for a lot of these pairs to just kind of come back to daily pivots and come back to support and resistance levels and so on. Here we have some support now, and this is about 58, 158.20-ish and so on, but I'm not looking for the pound to dip back that much. In fact, I'm looking a little bit more for this daily pivot here, which is about 158.40 right around there. And again, that's just about 30, a little over 30 pips away. And I think we've got a good chance of getting some retracement of these 30 pips and buying on the dip right around this area here. Picking up a buy at this daily pivot around 158.35.40 with stops down here below this support of 158.20. So that's what I'm going to be looking for, to take this pair back up and give it a good chance to really make a run at that daily pivot, which is 15900. It got pretty close, got all the way up here about 158.80. We have about 15900 for that daily 61.8% fib, and I think we're going to be able to at least reach that and possibly test that. But if we get a nice buy on the dip here around 158.40, that gives us a good 60 pip run to get up into that 61.8. So that's what I'm going to be looking for coming up. Next, we have an interesting setup on this euro yen. We saw the euro dollar run up, and we saw the euro yen run down on the FOMC news today. Here's what I'm looking for, and here's what I think we could very likely see happen. I think we're going to get more of a breakout and a run down here of this little kind of short-term area. I think we're going to get a break and a possible test of this 97.75. So there's a couple of things to look at. At this level, I would look to buy on the dip at 97.75. There's great support right here. We've got some good moving averages that should be able to stop the market. A whole bunch of things that give us good reason to believe that right around 97.75, 90, even as high as 9800 should be a good area to pick up a buy on the dip. Now, what I'm looking for on the shorter time frames here is to get a little bit of a break of this trend line and ultimately get back below 98.35. So here we are sitting at 98.45, so we're not very far away. But if we get a break back below that area, that takes us potentially into these lows again. So there's there's 25 or so pips that we should be able to easily get there. But ultimately, I'm looking for that break below 98.35 to trade this down into, again, that 97.75.80 area. Now we have a little bit more interesting profit targets of 50, 60 pips. So that's what I'm looking for. And then I'm going to buy as we get down to this support and hopefully take it back on up. If we don't, an open above this daily pivot could be encouraging, and I would consider taking that trade, open above the daily pivot and buy on up through there. But really, I think we're going to be able to get a nice break of 98.35 and be able to sell this down to at least 9800. If not 97, 75, 80. So that's what I'll be looking for there. Euro yen was a very interesting one because we were looking for a possible, we're just right at that 61.8% fib, and I think that's going to kind of bring the pair down just a little bit. But we've got a lot of support down here. We've got some monthly highs and so on that should be able to hold the pair and give it a bounce and take it right back on up again. So that's what I'll be looking for. As you can see, the Aussie dollar, is getting very, very crazy. I'm getting less interested in trading this one for the moment. A break above about 105.20 would get interesting. It's only about 20 pips away, but that's been a big channel. Or a break below this 104.100, 104.10. So we have kind of this 110 pip channel here that the Aussie dollar is bouncing up and down and up and down. So again, above 105.20, 105.20, we should be able to get a run into that 10600, or below about 10400. We should be able to get some runs there, but it's pretty choppy, and I'm not super excited about trading anything on this one just yet. Gold gave us a nice break. We're above this 1630 nicely. We're up here at 1650. Great little run there. So some good profits on that. Got a couple of positions there, and I think we're finally above this level. And I've been talking about this quite a bit lately, and we did get a very nice break. So I'm expecting gold to continue up. It is from this recent run hitting the 50% fib. So we'll see if that has any water, any bearing there. But we'll keep an eye on that. And then lastly, Aussie yen. We took a great trade on the Aussie yen yesterday, and I think this pair is getting pretty interesting. We've got this 82.30 area. If we break 82.30, I think we're headed into 81.60.70, and so we've got some nice pips, 50, 60 pips to be had in there. Otherwise, if we get a bounce on this, then we should be able to get a run back up into that 83.50 area. But very, very nice double top, and we've got this this trend line ultimately here that looks like it might be able to give way. So 82.30 is going to be important on this Aussie yen. If we get that break, look for a continuation down. I would like to see an open on the 1 hour chart below this. Otherwise, if we do get a bounce, look for things such as pin bars and good reasons for reversal there. Otherwise, we can buy above this daily pivot and take it back up into that range. So that's what I'm going to be looking for in all of these pairs. We should have some great setups. Looking forward to it, and I will send out some updates on Twitter and post them in the chat as well. Best of luck, guys, and we will see you in the chat. Thanks, everyone.